Coming up on the Empowered Woman podcast.
Like the best investment ever is in yourself.
Yep.
Like one of my favorite quotes is like, in 5 years, like you'll be the people that you meet, the books you read, the way that you develop yourself mentally, because I feel like 90% of everything in life is really mindset.
Welcome to the Empowered Woman podcast, the #1 show on personal growth, visibility, and profit for women entrepreneurs. If you're wanting to get empowered to be seen, stand out on social media, stages, TV, and more, to make an impact with your voice in business, you're in the right place. I am so glad that you're here. My name is Marta Spurk, and I'm your host, empowerment coach, visibility and marketing expert, and all things motivation extraordinaire. Welcome again, and let's dive into today's episode. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday post-holiday. I am so excited to be doing this. Yay, we're live. Let me just tag you. All right. Well, my friends, you may have seen some of my posts celebrating 5 years of my podcast, also celebrating getting so close to 300 episodes. And I made a proposition to whoever decided to join the podcast bundle that Juliana, my friend Juliana, and I put together, that they would get to be interviewed on the show. And Bre jumped right on in. I think it was maybe the first or the second day.
Yeah.
You were like, all for it. So I'm so excited that you were it because, learning more about you and your background, we have so much in common, and I'm very grateful to be connected in this capacity right now. Background, because we're not 100% sure, but I'm thinking that we connected several years ago, like maybe 2. You said your twins are 4, 3?
They're going to be 4 in 2.5 weeks.
Okay.
So I think we connected like 3 years ago. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. We connected either when you were pregnant or a newborn stage, because we're both part of the Mothers of Multiple Society, which is a group for moms of multiples here in Colorado. So you are local to Colorado as well. So we've been Facebook friends for several years, seeing each other's stuff here and there, but we had never actually talked, interacted.
Till today. So
until
here
today,
we are.
like live.
Yeah. And
which is so fun.
Congratulations on your 300th episode. That is amazing.
So
and what an honor that I get to make a debut here with you.
There you go. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, let us meet you officially. Tell us more about who you are and what you do, and then we'll talk more about your podcasting plans, and we'll go all over the place. So give us a clue.
Awesome. So I'm Bre Small. I go by Bre. And I'm a residential realtor in Littleton, Colorado. Specifically, I'm very hyper local to my neighborhood because I'm a raving fan of my neighborhood. And just having twins that are almost 4 now, it's just like one of the best lives as a mother to be able to design your life around being close to your kiddos. So, I've been in residential real estate since 2016. So I guess I'm on almost year 7.5.
Yeah.
And I just I'm like a raving fan of supporting other small businesses. Specifically, I love girl power and supporting women-owned businesses, but any local small business owner, your bread and butter is your community and your referrals and your repeat clients. And I just my last name is Small. And I just am really a big advocate of shopping small and just supporting your friends and your neighbors' businesses, just to, create this symbiotic abundance between everybody that you know.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And I actually had my triplets in 2016. So they are 7.5 because their birthday is in July. in January. So they've been counting the days to be like,
yeah.
They're more aware of those things. And I love, how much we have in common in supporting other women's businesses, all small businesses, like what you said. And I love the play on words there with your last name. So fun. And the area that you live in, it's beautiful for those of you who are not familiar, but it's just right at the foot of the mountains. And it's an amazing area.
Oh yeah. It's really, obviously I'm a salesman and I love my community. And so it's kind of this utopia. It's like a mini little mountain area. And we have one of the world-class amenities. There's an equestrian center So sure enough, someday my girls are probably going to ask for a pony. How do I say no? There's an equestrian center down the road. We have like 3 swimming pools, award-winning schools, 22 tennis courts. I don't play tennis, Marta, but obviously I should.
Yes, you should. I love it. Well, tell us more about your podcasting aspirations. So we put together this audio experience is what we're calling it, Juliana and I, where we're talking more about podcasting. You jumped right in. I remember in the first episode that we released, you were one of the first people that commented and said, "Oh my gosh, Marta, I've known you for several years virtually. And then now I listen to your voice in this series and I'm sold." And that was such a great testament to everything that we were talking about in that series, how podcasting allows for more intimacy with your audience, because it's one thing to see someone's pictures and the caption in their posts, and it's a completely different story to listen to them talk on a podcast. So now I want to hear from your perspective, what prompted you to join that challenge and then go on and sign up for the program and now getting ready to launch your podcast.
Yeah. So basically, like, I'm a salesman who loves to be sold because I feel like the best investment ever is in yourself.
Yeah.
You know, like one of my favorite quotes is like, in 5 years, like you'll be the people that you meet, the books you read, you know, the way that you develop yourself mentally, because I feel like 90% of everything in life is really mindset.
Yeah.
So, and I've recently just kind of become obsessed with real estate investing. Mm-hmm. So there's so many amazing podcasts out there that is essentially like college online. Like you get this amazing education. So I go for a walk every morning and I have like 4 or 5 different podcasts, but yours, of course, is going to be on my playlist, the VIP now.
Now you can listen to your own episode on my show.
Yeah. So the more that I listen to these podcasts is this whole like parasocial relationship where you feel like you know people.
Yeah.
And like, you know, in my community, one of my friends jokes about this. She's like, you know, her daughter was like, "Hey, Mom, is Bre like a celebrity?" And she was like, "Yeah, in our neighborhood." I'm like, "Oh yeah, kind of like a C-list celebrity." But, you know, people want to do business with people that they know, they like, and they trust. So when you have so many different facets of your personality, having a podcast, I feel like, is just like perfect, because you can do social media posts and you can have copy that resonates with people, but they don't really truly get to know you in the context of your message until they really hear your voice. And so in my past career, I was actually a chiropractor for 7 years, which was kind of like for 10 years, but it was like 8 years of college. So that was like 20 years of my life. Oh my gosh. And I actually had a radio show during that period.
Really?
And yeah, so it's kind of like a natural thing. Like, you know, I have a lot to say, you know, and I have a lot to share that I feel like if it adds value to other people's lives, especially small business owners or moms that are really like passionate about having lifestyle design, like I never want to miss anything for my children, you know, so I want to always be able to be there and just like create this life that we can have the flexibility to do whatever we want, whenever we want to do it. So,
Oh, that's wonderful. So, oh my gosh, you're right at home. You already had your radio show. So
yeah, but it wasn't this fun. Like I would literally like sit in a room talking into a microphone by myself. So, you know.
Yeah. So this will get to be more fun. I love one of the things that you said right in the beginning, once we started talking about the podcast, is that you're a salesperson. So you love being sold to. Like, wow, what an amazing mindset to have for a business owner, to understand the power of sales and that we can always learn from somebody else. I remember I was already in a program, but I got to participate in an event. It was like free because I had purchased the program, and I got to see that mentor sell the same thing that I was already a part of. So I didn't have to buy anything else, but it was just the pleasure of watching somebody that you admire and that you look up to sell and be like, I just love the way that you sell. Like that is something for us to business owners to aspire to, is to reach the point where we just appreciate the art of providing value, right? And saying, here's the opportunity to take this further, whether you decide to or not, it doesn't matter, but it's just not seeing it as a negative thing, but as the positive of, I'm sharing something with you, whether you accept it or not. So I love that mindset. And that's something I wanted to point out for all the business owners listening, is that because at times I feel that when I pitch things to people, it's almost like they get offended that I am selling. And that's like, that could be the very thing that's keeping you from advancing in your business. Is that if you're still getting offended of being sold to, that means this is the vibe you're giving off when you are trying to sell. So
Yeah,
piece of advice here, friends.
Yeah, totally. And I think there's, what you said too about like just finding somebody, there's no wheel that needs to be reinvented. There's always people out there that have done things that you want to do. So I am huge on mentorship. And I also feel like there's just seasons of our lives, like when my twins were one, I had to prioritize things and I hadn't really been able to come to any of your live speaking events. But now that they're 4, I am so excited because this is just the season I'm in. And that's the same thing with sales, you meet somebody and maybe it's not the season, but if you continue to provide value and content and, just, I feel like there's just this universal law that if you go out and help other people, then it just, it always comes back to you if you have the right intentions.
Exactly. And this is the very attitude that you're applying towards launching your show, because that was one of the things we were talking about before we went live here is, okay, so what is your goal for your upcoming show? And what is the long term? Like, what is the offer? Where is this leading to? So tell us more, because now everyone's going to be waiting for this launch.
Yeah, myself included. So
you have all the support.
So it's Q3. I'm very goal oriented, like pretty type A, but super fun. So I like to think I'm a unicorn because I have like all these different personalities. But basically, my goal is just to kind of start out with my podcast, like adding value to other people, interviewing small business owners. One of the things I do now is I'm just very passionate about like having events, hosting events, and networking with other typically women-owned small businesses so that we can create this relationship and support each other, almost like a referral partner, but yet at the same time, like it's never like my intention to be like, oh, I have to be the realtor you use. I just really get my cup filled up by creating friendships. So at the end of the day, it's a win-win because it's not just all business. It's really about my mental and my social health too. So, and I have a very rich social life. So, anyway, the goal is to start that way, just to interview other business owners, let people know, their offers and what they have and what they're creating and providing resources for our community. And then also just kind of like a deep dive into the future. Like this past 3 years, I am almost obsessed with real estate investing. And I just love everything about it. Like any book, like there's a real estate book, it's in my office right now. So I started out with long-term and I just bought a short-term rental in Florida, and I'm happy to say like it's totally working out because it was terrifying actually when we closed on that in January. So, but it's essentially booked like the rest of the summer, which it's a peak season thing. So you kind of have to crush it from like Memorial Day to Labor Day, which we are. So now I'm just like, ooh, what can I do next? Like I'm all about creating generational wealth. And I think that is an amazing platform as well to have a podcast to just kind of share my failures because successful people fail more than anybody. And I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of failures, but with Facebook and Instagram and all the social media, literally it's like it's a peak to peak experience. So people are always posting their highlights. And, I'd really like to share with people my whole journey because one of my next big ventures, I think, is I'm going to be investing in like boutique hotels and turning them into automated, like basically like Airbnbs, essentially. So it's all online. So that's kind of my next thing. So that's where I see my podcast going.
Oh, that's so good. And back to what you said earlier too, is you basically get a college degree in a podcast, right? You find one specific show in a specific subject matter that you're interested in.
And then you binge it.
You can binge. Yeah. So this is what your show is going to turn into eventually when you get into the nitty gritty of the investment and also sharing the failures. That is so key. Oh my gosh. Getting so many mindset lessons here from you that is a very important part of the process as a business owner, is to share the things that did not work out. I actually have conversations with some of my entrepreneur besties all the time and saying, I really resonate with mentors that are real about the things that didn't work, how it's not all rainbows and butterflies. Like we appreciate the people that humanize themselves into saying, it's not all glitter and gold. And I see this with
Exactly.
my audience too. Whenever I say, like, I argue with my husband at times because I'm spending too much time on my computer. I cry in front of my computer sometimes, and people love to hear that because it's like, oh wow, Marta, I thought you had it all together and you're the superwoman. And it's like, no, friends, I'm
Yeah,
human just like you. There's a saying, I have to put my pants one leg at a time, just like you. Right? I'm not
exactly.
floating and levitating and doing crazy stuff.
Yeah. It's a very authentic thing. Like when I was going through fertility treatments, I would post stuff and updates, and people love that. Like people
Mhm.
need to know that we're human, because they, like, all the time people are like, how do you do everything that you do? And I'm like, well, I do about 50% of it. And my husband does, actually, I'm about a 40%er. But like,
Yeah.
I know what I'm good at. He knows
Yeah.
what he's good at. And we're just a great team, so
Mhm.
we just divide and conquer. But yeah, just showing like your whole life, like being completely transparent with
Mhm.
people, and they love that, because nobody's life is perfect. And people absolutely love it when I post pictures of my toddlers like tantruming and screaming, and because I
Mhm.
think they just want to know, like, hey, that's real,
Yeah. Yeah. You
so
struggle too. You're mom
mhm,
with mom issues, just like any other mom. So that's
exactly.
well,
Yeah.
obviously you have a journey until your quarter 4 release of the podcast because you're already planned out. That's so funny. Do
Yeah.
you already have like an idea of what the show's going to be called, or
Yes.
you do? Okay, tell us more.
Well, so I feel like I'm good at like puns and captions and things like that. So anyway, my name is Bre, and I'm a realtor, so I'm going to call it the Realtor podcast.
Oh my gosh, that is so fun. I love
And
it.
I love that too, because one of the trainings that I did with Juliana, and it talks about how you evolve with your podcast, and she's like, I changed the name of my podcast like 4 times
Yeah.
in like 5 years. So I'm like, oh well, it's about real estate, it's about me, it's about life, it's about the journey and investing and health and wealth, and just doing life. So I think that that's a pretty time tested name. So yeah, I'm excited.
Real life issues. Okay, well, we're still live. Let's see if she can pop back and we will finish off. Anyways, guys, so basically I wanted to have Bre come on because she was the first one to join our Skyrocket Your Visibility bundle. And it's just such an amazing testament of consistency and staying visible. Like we talked about, we met several years ago just on social media because we're part of the same Mothers of Multiples group. She has twins, I have triplets. And several years later, I put up, this event about podcasting. She was thinking about podcasting, and she jumped into the free opportunity and jumped into the course. And now here she is in the 300th episode of my show, and we're connected. She's a client and she's local, which means we can collaborate, we can meet in person. And it's just a beautiful thing. You're back. Sorry, I think it was my connection. I'm sorry. I don't know what happened. But
did I just freeze and like stop talking? Did I freeze like that?
Yeah, I think I could still hear you, but I don't know. It went crazy. So I don't know if it was my connection or whose it was, but
we're just we're being authentic. We're not perfect.
We're being authentic. See, real life problems, tech issues. Anyway, well, I am super excited for your release of the podcast. I love that you're taking on the mindset of I can change the name, I can revamp. You're already thinking about the evolution of the show, and it hasn't even started yet, like thinking where it's going to take you in being one of these college podcasts on investing, right? And starting off with supporting other small businesses, which is what you are already doing. So I'd love, last thing, to hear from you, like how can people connect with you right now? If they're local, so that's one thing, like how can they connect with you? How can, they learn more about your work and how you could potentially support them with real estate? And for the people that are not local, give us a scoop.
Absolutely. So it's Bre Small, EXP Realty, and my website is dreambigcallsmall.com. So that's my tagline: dream big, call small. Yeah. And so you can check me out there. I'm on Instagram at Realtor Bre Small, and I'm on Facebook. So yeah, I'm not on TikTok or LinkedIn, because I don't know, I'm 43 and I don't know how to do those things.
I don't do TikTok either. I'm on LinkedIn just because, people can find me there, and I repost my stuff, but my main is Facebook and second Instagram. Okay, cool. Well, thank you so much for joining me. I am so excited for the launch of your podcast. While I was waiting for you to get back, I was saying, look at the power of staying consistent and being visible, that we've known each other. We've been connected for several years. And then now was the time. Now was the time. You were already thinking about starting a podcast. So this was, everything happened as it was meant to happen. And we're local, so we can meet in person, we can mastermind, and because we're, on the same wavelength of supporting small businesses and supporting women. So we'll see where this takes us, but it's just a great, I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful that things happened the way that they did. And we're going to continue on. The sky's the limit.
Yeah. I want to be your entrepreneur bestie. So put me on the list and let's get together in real life soon.
Let's do it. I know. So good. Well, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for accepting the invitation to share this conversation on the 300th episode. And now it's officially going to be out there that you're launching a podcast. So you can't back down. People are going to be waiting.
That's awesome. Accountability is everything, right?
Yes, it is. I'm going to go back to the episode once the show launches and put your info of the show so people can go and listen to it.
Okay. I'll make it happen.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Marta. Congrats again. 300 episodes is amazing. So, one of my coaches says, what gets celebrated gets replicated. So I hope you are celebrating, and hopefully I can celebrate with you soon.
Yes, you will celebrate your 300th as well. And I'll celebrate my 600th. We'll see in a few years. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good to see you. Have a great rest of your day.
Thanks so much for tuning in today. I hope this episode empowered you. And if you enjoyed the show, please join the Empowered Woman community on Facebook and share with friends, or leave a review on iTunes so more people can discover this empowering message. Until next time, bye.